Welcome back. This is going to be the start of round 3. I've got here CJ Moynihan. CJ is one of the lead developers on Pantheon, the new cards that just came out. And we're really happy to have him here in the booth. Welcome.
Thank you.
Also, before we begin round 3, we wanted to make a correction to round 2. Because Mike Siegrist and Justin Cohen were playing with a gentleman's agreement, their cards were off to the side, off the screen, and from where we were, we couldn't see that the Spore Beast did have loyalty to for the activation to give it Blitz to happen right away in that game 1. Nothing was missed, and Mike Siegrist had loyalty to and was able to win game 1 because of it. So I just want to make a correction before we start round 3.
All right.
Who are we going to have as our primary match?
So we are looking at John Tatian versus Jason Smith, and this is going to be our 3rd round of Dark Draft. So after this, we'll be going to the Constructed. John was our champion from last year, and he's going to be facing off versus Jason, who top 8'd last year as well.
This is so I just talked to Jason before round 3 started, and Jason lost to John in the Swiss. Still made it to top 8 and lost to John in the top 8. So you know this match means a lot to Jason. They both starting 2-0, both proving they can Dark Draft. And honestly, these are 2 really good Dark Drafters, 2 top 8 competitors from last year. And I'm really excited to see how this one goes.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see if Jason's strategy is going to change a little bit now that they've both played against each other a couple of times, and you know that he's gotten a lot more time to practice and refine since the last year.
Yeah. And for all of you, there's John on the left looking dapper.
Oh.
Now, what a tie. There's even another, looks like a green rubber ducky has joined the yellow one, and there is that tie that I spoke of earlier. I actually already mentioned that he was wearing this tie. This is John is part of the Boston Boys and Team Flock.
Right.
Jason tests with Gabriel Kostyomi as well as other guys from the Team Nashville. So 2 really prominent teams here, and both did really well last year and off to a really good start. I feel like another rubber ducky is going to show up like every round. They're just going to take over the whole feature match area. They are multiplying right now. Yep, they're just putting the packs together now, making sure that they're entirely randomized. If you're just joining us, this is our last Dark Draft today, and they are going to look at a pack of 5, pick 1, pass 4 to their opponent. Their opponent will pass 4 to them. They'll look at those 4, take 2 more, discard 2 permanently, and that's 3 cards from the first pack. They'll do that 9 more times. They finish with 30 cards in their deck, and they have to play every single card that they draft. A lot of nuance that goes into Dark Draft, and a lot of decisions not only for yourself, but what you're passing your opponent. We're going to watch John, right? Yeah, starting right here with John.
So in the first pack, there is Fumble, Surprise Attack, Fires of Rebellion, Unquenchable Thirst, and Hand of Angeline.
It's a pretty strong pack.
Yes.
I think Fumble and Surprise Attack are going to stand out to John, and it's going to be a tough pick between the 2.
Absolutely. Personally, I think I really do like Fumble at the very beginning. Getting those zeros and the recycles are always great.
Yep.
The new card in the pack is Hand of Angeline. That's from from Pantheon.
Yeah.
And it is a 2 offense, 3 defense, 0-cost airborne champion with ally recycle.
So, and we've seen that at all 3 Dark Drafts, we have seen people prioritize those zeros to start, just as CJ did. Now, 4 cards get past him. None of them are zeros. He does go with both of the Sage.
So he picked up a Reset and a War Machine.
Yep.
So Reset's an interesting choice because, at least for me, I always have a hard time getting a lot of value out of Reset in
Limited.
Limited, yeah. Just because it's, it can be really hard to have returning all champions to hand really work out for you. But
right. Here in Pack 2, the Lightning Strike, the Wither, and the Misguide Herald all at the front for John. Wouldn't be surprised. Even the Silver Dragon, very strong. I think I would take the lightning strike here.
Absolutely.
And yeah, he's going to follow suit, prioritizing those zeros, especially early. We've seen that all day. Both Sam Black and Mike Segrist had a lot of zeros, and a lot of them came early.
Especially at a high level, I think Lightning Strike gets better because when you're thinking about what your opponent could have, Lightning Strike is one of those few cards that basically it doesn't, you don't expect it because it's 5 damage for 0, so it's hard to play around.
Yeah, and there's cards like Helena's Chosen is a 6/5, Angel of Death is a 6/5, it can take care of Knight of Shadows at 9/4. It can actually deal with a lot of coins.
Yeah. So it looks like he's going the evil route. It picked up Medusa and Reaper, I think.
Yeah, and that's a sign. So he says, okay, you're going to pass me Medusa. It's early. I'm going in. And he does. Looking at Pack 3, Siren Song already at the front. And I think this is another card that if you're playing against a good player and they're going to draft lots of zeros, Siren Song gets even better.
Yeah. So you think you would take out this pack?
Yes, and he goes for it as well. Again, also, it's the only zero. As good as the coins are, when you're playing against another great player, the zeros are what help you get ahead. Ooh, let's talk about the wills. I'm really glad to have you in the booth. We haven't seen much of the wills yet today, but tell us about them and tell about how interesting and different they are for Epic.
Right. So the wills are a cycle of 1-cost events that when you play them, if you haven't spent your golds yet, then you get that extra golds, but you can only spend it on that color. So the card that John just took was Scar's Will.
Yeah.
And
Faithful Pegasus.
And Faithful Pegasus, yeah. But Scar's Will is unique in that it's a 1-cost card, but it is effectively like a 0 break a champion.
Yeah.
But a smart player can try and play around it because it doesn't. It kind of works like Winged Death in that it doesn't. You don't get to choose what you get rid of, but you choose a player. So that means that if they have small things lying around, then they're just going to lose, a human token or something like that. But it also lets you get past untargetable. And get rid of things like
sometimes it's just like, I don't want to use it right now. There's a bunch of 1/1s. Sometimes there might be a Steel Titan or a Sea Titan or a Steel Golem.
Yeah,
those untargetable guys you want to take care of. So they did a little review after Pack 3. They do it after Pack 3 and 7, and a very powerful 4th pack here. I like the Flame Spike. He could also go with the Consume because he's got the Medusa to help with that. I think chooses the Flame Spike because of the recycle.
In terms of raw power, Flame Spike's better. It's interesting. He's kind of behind, in my opinion, on his evil loyalty. He definitely does not have as much as he should in order to get his things reliably.
He goes with the new Force Mage.
Right.
Force Mage Apprentice. We get to see the Force Mage, not the Apprentice. Yeah.
Yes.
And he does go with that new card there.
Master Force Mage is kind of interesting because when you play a Sage card that costs a gold, it prepares, which means that you can use the ability again, but also you can attack a second time.
Yeah.
So unlike Force Mage Apprentice, you can potentially get 8 combat out of a Master Force Mage by attacking with it twice.
And these allied abilities, super exciting with the wills. You can even trigger it twice in the same turn, which we've never been able to do before. Yeah. So very, very excited about the wills. And he does pick up that Master Force Mage. That's the first time I think we've seen it, so I'm excited to see it in play.
So it looks like he's looking at the martial law here, mostly because he doesn't have a Wrath. I think the other cards are pretty exciting for him to bump up his blue loyalty with the blue dragon, but he doesn't actually have.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. A very quick Blind Faith Frantic Digging. I think I'd be super excited to see that pack. There were 3 zeros in it.
Yeah. And I
know Jason's
2 of them are a lot more exciting than Priest of Kalinor.
Right. Yeah, pretty easy there for John. And I'm sure, I don't know what Jason took out of that pack, but Jason looks at the pack and goes, I don't want a pack to be this powerful. I want there to be one great card I want, and then maybe just 4 coins in different factions I can pass. In that scenario,
it's also really interesting, I think, based on what we've seen, John's gotten almost no wilds back. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot of wild cards in Jason's deck.
Yeah. This is tough too because I think Go Wild raw level power level is probably higher than the Thrasher Demon, and he does choose to go for it. But again, not a lot of evil for Medusa yet.
Yeah.
That was the one thing each time he passes Consume or Thrasher Demon. I'm saying you are taking raw power, but hopefully he can pick up a few more evil.
And the Scar's Will too is also requires that evil.
Exactly. Zealous Necromancer seems like the time to pick that up, and he might get a second will here with Gareth's Will.
With Gareth's Will, I mean, he has the Master Force Mage.
Oh my gosh, we might actually get to see it on stream. Yes, he took it. All right, we might actually get to see 2 new cards doing something we've never seen before, which is triggering allied ability twice in the same turn off of the.
Yeah, and also at the very least, it's still a draw 2. I mean, a lot of the time, I'd be more excited to see Gareth's Will in my hand than say Reset, which we know he also picked up. Just because the ability tends to be stronger when it's strong than Reset when it's strong.
If I'm in John's shoes, super excited. It's a 0, it's powerful, and it helps with Medusa. And I think, taking that Dark Knight. He is passing the Ancient Chant. He did look straight at it and go, don't like to pass this, but the Dark Knight, very important.
He definitely needs to pick up some more evil cards for his loyalty. He's going to have some trouble actually playing the Scar's Will for the Scar's side if he doesn't pick up more 1-cost evil cards.
He wants Sage, he wants evil, he gets past 4, good.
Yeah.
He can still get some draw 2s out of it, and even a draw 2 in Resurrection, possibly even something, even more. And then the Angel Legate, I think, was the second one. Yeah. Which has been, the Angels have actually looked very good today. Even, but just very impressive, all 3 that we've seen on stream.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine splashable card because it doesn't matter what color you're in. It's nice to have some card in your deck that gains you health, so that you just have a way out if you stabilize against someone who runs out of cards in their hand.
Yeah. I think he's already passed some burn. I think he passed the Fork Lightning earlier, and there's lots of burns, so it can allow you to use your life total as a resource, especially early more I've seen, and then be able to gain that life back. So he has 5 evil. That's what I just counted as he passed right now. So I think that's, with 3 packs left, probably the top of his priority. Just more powerful zeros, hopefully picking up just a few more evil. But his deck looks pretty strong.
It's going to be a little bit awkward to ever use that Scar's Will right now because, I mean, aside from going Scar's Will into Reaper, he's going to either have to go into Zealous Necromancer on turn, or Medusa on turn, and then have another 2 evil cards in his hand after the Scar's Will.
Yeah. He does have Fumble and Blind Faith already. He might try to pick up a Ceasefire here and really play like he did last year with his...
Well, this feels pretty good.
Yeah. Heinous Feast. He doesn't... I don't think he has any way of interacting with his opponent's discard pile yet.
Yeah, that's his first one.
And Heinous Feast is evil, so that's a decent pickup for him.
Yeah, I mean, as far as discard banishment goes, I think that's probably the one that he wanted to get. I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody loves Amnesia.
Right.
But Heinous Feast is also fulfills the requirement of being an evil card to help him with his loyalties.
Absolutely. Yep. And even if Corpse Taker isn't super powerful here, at this point in the draft, I wouldn't be surprised if he took it. Even the Smash and Burn with very few wild, it can, even if you only have 1 or 2, it can sit in your discard pile for a while sometimes and still get that extra activation off. Looks like that's what he's going for.
It's interesting. I think, so Timebender is normally a card, I think Timebender is a little stronger in his deck, but he really needs that evil.
Yeah.
He really needs that evil loyalty. And he's got Reset, and he's got...
I mean, he has Reset and Dark Knight and Corpse Taker now. I mean, he's putting a little something together.
Gareth's Will.
Yeah. That's there's a couple different things to do. Now, this is tough because, I mean, Army of the Apocalypse for the Medusa. I know I keep bringing it back up, but that's got to be on the top of his mind. But Erratic Research, a powerful draw 2, does what Heinous Feast does. Takes it over the Keeper of Secrets.
Right. I think he's looking for more draw 2s. He's pretty low on those Vex.
I actually know John likes Winter Fairy. We've talked about it before. And that Night of the Dawn, that's a new one. That was one of the promos, right? Now we have it.
Right. Yeah. Night of the Dawn. It's a 6 3 with Blitz, and when it Tribute, I believe, it removes a evil token.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah. I'm excited about Knight of the Dawn. You can Knight of the Dawn and then Roxas Curse, and Knight of the Dawn, Roxas Curse. They can just battle all day.
Yeah.
All right. I think this is Pack 10. Oh, I'm so glad. This is the first time we've seen Dirge of Skara. So talk to us about Dirge of Skara. I'm super excited about it. Evil basically getting their version of Ancient Chant.
Right, yeah. So it draws you 2 cards right away, but later it gives you a demon token. And it's difficult, I think, a lot of the time when you're trying to figure out what to put in your evil deck, or you just want to get more resilient card draw, because Evil, especially in my opinion, has had it's less good off-turn plays. And what Dirge of Skara is it's a draw 2 that you can play on your opponent's turn, but it's not an empty draw 2. It gives you a demon token which is threatening enough.
Yeah.
To put some pressure on.
And he didn't take it. I think he went with the Savage Uprising there, and then finishing up with Second Wind. I didn't see the other one. I knew it was Evil. I didn't quite see which of the 2 he chose that were there. I think that's 10 though, and we'll count here. I think he's ending up with 8 or 9 Evil, and 10 plus zeros though. So,
yeah, I think the reason that he took the Savage Uprising is because he's so light on Wraths.
Right.
He has no ways to clear the board. Just the
we did see very few.
Martial Law.
I think that's the other one he took. Yep. And I have seen players. We saw Mike Seegers last round take Plague and then Reap and Sow. You know, maybe not the most powerful, but when there's very few and you're playing with these limited resources, I saw him take 2 board wipes. Looks like John has at least 2 as well.
Yeah.
So that was the last dark draft of the day. We'll let them take a few minutes, look through their 30 cards, and they got to play with all of them. And but John was able to craft lots of zeros at the beginning. We've seen that all day, as well as just enough evil to make that Medusa work. And he's got both wills, or 2 of the wills, both the Sage and the evil.
I'd be curious to see if that Savage Uprising that he picked up works with the bunch of zero cost champions that he has.
Yeah.
Because he has a lot of zero
He
champions.
does. And the reset. I mean, seeing a Dark Knight, a reset, Dark Knight, there's some cool things that can happen there as well. He's picked up a lot of interesting cards. He even has like Resurrection in his deck, which is usually just a draw 2, but I could totally see John finding the time to play a great Resurrection.
Right.
And that's what's so... They're very niche cards, but because they have the draw 2, they're playable.
Yeah.
Draw 2 is always good. You're always happy to have it, and I really like those kind of cards. We even saw Feint earlier, able to do not a ton of work, but able to just get an extra blocker, and a draw 2, and that alone is just better than a draw 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of draw 2s coming from that deck, just because it is going to want to refill up on cards so much.
Yeah. I've also seen especially these competitive players, they take so many zeros.
Yeah.
That draw 2s fuel the zeros, because not all the zeros recycle. The ones that do, we talk about them. John took Fumble. Fumble is one of the best. Blind Faith, one of the best. He has both of them.
Yeah.
They recycle. That's incredibly powerful. But there's a bunch that don't, and they help you get ahead, but you have less cards as a whole. And so refueling with those draw 2s are going to be really important. All right, we're almost ready. What fact? I should say this. I was saying this all day. What factions, based on what John passed Jason? What do you think? Where do we think Jason is?
Well,
it's hard to tell.
Honestly, just based on, I know that it's speculation, but based on what he got, I didn't see a single Wilds card that was powerful. Basically, I didn't like stuff like Draka's Enforcer. Raging T-Rex, Brock.
Yeah, none of it.
Basically just effects that I didn't see Hounding Raptors. I didn't see anything that was loyalty heavy, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jason took nearly half of his deck at least.
Right,
was
and maybe most of his first picks. Even it could have been a Raging T-Rex, pick one, right? And you're in. Yeah. And then every single powerful loyalty 2 in Wild, he says, this is my first pick all 10 times, or something close to that. If not a 0, it's a wild. Right. There could have just been very little wild. It happens. Sometimes you see both players with loyalty to wild cards, and they're pulling them off. That's how much wild was in the packs. Sometimes not. But I agree, wild and then something else with lots of zeros. I know Jason and Team Nashville highly rate zeros. They always have a ton, and they really put the pressure on. So does John. So I think we'll see a big zero battles here in round 3.
Yeah, based on what was passed, I would expect Jason's deck to have from the first pack surprise attack, and then
you're right.
Yeah, and then he probably picked up the ancient chant as well that got passed.
Yes, that surprise attack also, especially if he did take a wild card to start, he gets past the surprise attack, he's in. Yeah. I would be in. If I took a raging T-Rex into a surprise attack, there's nothing else I'm really interested in
so
besides
it'll be
zeros.
Interesting to see if John can keep that in the back of his mind that, that first pack, that's,
that was so strong.
I mean, he's got it based on that 4-card pack.
Right.
I don't remember what the other 3 cards were, but that was definitely the only other noteworthy card, in my opinion.
And that's what's so fascinating about the complexity of Dark Draft. You don't necessarily know what's in your opponent's deck, but you passed 4, they have to take 2, and you know all 4. And when you start seeing, especially in game 1, when you start seeing, if he sees a loyalty 2 in wild, he's probably going to say, yep, I bet he has surprise attack in his deck. That's something you can start to decipher, especially in game 1. You look at what your opponent had, you try to remember the key cards, which is so hard. You're trying to remember your cards, you're trying to build your deck, you're thinking about what your opponent built. A lot to think about. But these 2 guys are 2 of the best at it, and it looks like they've had time to review. We're about to start. Jason really looking through. And it's you draft and you're trying to keep track of everything, but then you're counting your zeros, you're counting if you've got loyalty 2s, you're counting like I only have 3 sage cards in my hand, one of them's loyalty 2. I want to play one of the other ones now, but I need to know I've got 7 of this, 9 of this, or whatever. I try to do that. I try to memorize it. Sometimes I even write it down on the side secretly. I
also like to keep track of my outs because sometimes you're in a situation where you have to decide whether you're going to try and dig for that clear or whether you're going to try and dig for that burn or whether you should just keep dedicating to the board. And knowing that you have, I have 4 cards that deal 5 damage to my opponent, and then you're halfway through your deck, and you have 15 cards left. Each draw, that's almost a 1 out of 3 chance of drawing your
exactly. Card. And you can really get down to that pretty quickly and really say what is Jason doing with that? Did he take one of those rubber duckies? I mean, it's all out war against the flock if you steal one of the rubber duckies. Oh, I put it back.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Cheers.
We can't see the chat from here, but man, I hope there's a rubber ducky emote because that's got to be just spam it all weekend. Especially in time anybody from the flock is on stream. All right.
Pretty sure there's a mallard.
Yeah. Close enough.
Close enough.
John and the whole team would be very happy. They'd be like, yes, that's fine. You can use that. So we're about to start. Again, if you're just joining us, this is round 3. This is the dark draft portion, our last dark draft of today. And both players are looking at their opening hands for game 1. Jason deciding on his mulligan right now. He can mulligan as long as it's all at the same time, up to 5 cards. Looks like he's going to choose 2. Put them on the bottom. He'll draw 2 new cards, and he starts at 28. So 1 life lost per card. John's going to follow suit. I said it earlier today, but really love that each player always starts with the same amount of cards. Just sculpting a little bit here to start. And John was on the play, and I really like Winter Fairy. It's one of the cards to play before your opponent on your first turn. He starts with a Winter Fairy. Jason with an Erase.
I mean, that's a pretty good answer.
I just saw him pick up the Ancient Chant as well. So we could be looking at a Wild Sage deck here. Looks like he has a lot of good Sage cards as well. Dark Knight.
Yeah, it's
one of the strongest.
sometimes I don't want to play a zero cost. If I have certain openers in my hand, sometimes I don't want to play a zero cost Blitz Champion right away. I want to drop like a valuable one cost card like a Winter Fairy and let my opponent respond before I start doing things like attacking with my Dark Knight.
Yep. Consume from Jason. We saw John have to pass that when he took the Flame Spike. Having to do it on his turn. Deal 3 damage to target champion. Gain 3 health. The 0 version of Drain Essence. And there's Keeper of Secrets.
Interesting. Oh.
Yeah, it already has the recycle, actually.
And it looks like he's doing this right away before...
Yep.
Before...
John plays his coin.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see. I guess if I was Jason, I probably wouldn't attack with the Djinn of the Sands.
You know, Darwin and I were talking about that earlier. Play a Blitz Champion. You know, get kind of maybe some kind of value out of it, like he did with the Keeper Secrets, and pass. Your opponent needs to play their coin.
Yeah.
If they do a draw 2, much safer to attack.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. And he's gonna, but either way, he just goes with the draw. So that's also safe, right?
Right.
Instead of passing, he goes with the draw. Down to a 7/7. He'll also get rid of the Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
That's just making it harder for John to recycle if he wants to.
Right.
Jason's already played his coin, so John says, well, it's Angel of the Gate time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great time
Yeah.
to play Angel of the Gate because it's guaranteed effectively to give him the 5 health, and then he can swing in. And, I mean, Jason has to do something
Right.
about this.
That's the power of ambush champions. A lot of pressure. Really trying to force Jason to play his coin first.
Yeah, and actually, I think this is a great example of a time where Jason was punished for drawing with the Djinn of the Sands right away because, you know, he doesn't have the 8/8 to block or attack with. And
Right.
John effectively had to spend his gold to, you know, drop the Angel or draw 2 there.
Looks like Jason said, I don't want to play my coin first, so I'm going to use my life tool as a resource. Took the 7.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Angel of the Gate is that you can't really race it very well. I mean, if Angel of the Gate and, you know, Djinn of the Sands and Keeper of Secrets stay in play, then you can't, like, you're not going to be able to trade blows with that and come out ahead.
Yeah. I liked Angel of the Gate, but it's really impressed me this weekend. Like, I'm already thinking, like, not only just ambush in general, but ambush with Airborne and life gain. I'm starting to think about it and value it more.
Yeah.
Looks like a draw 2 from the Secret Legion from Jason.
Using the Secret Legion.
And he does have a Draca's Enforcer. So that, I know we're seeing it. John doesn't know about it yet, but he was the wild, as we expected.
Right.
He does have a lot of wild. He's got loyalty 2s. We can expect that.
He's got
Probably
big
expect that
buff.
surprise attack in his deck. Yeah, there's another loyalty 2 in Pyrosaur.
Pyrosaur, he's got the
These were all...
mythic monster as well
yeah.
in his hand. So I wouldn't be surprised. He's probably, you know, as he was drafting, was thinking about the surprise attack that I'm sure is in his deck.
Absolutely. He had it early, and he was able to say, well, I mean, Mythic Monster gets way better when you know you have a surprise attack in your deck.
He's going to go for the Pyrosaur here and try and clear off that Winter Fairy.
Yep. You don't want Winter Fairy drawing more than 2 cards. It's already really good.
Yeah.
And he reveals Fireball and Mythic Monster.
Oh, so the Fireball clears off the Angel of the Gate.
That's 7.
Yeah.
That's great. Wow. Yeah. 4 from the Pyrosaur, 3 from the Fireball.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still attacking for 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see what John does here. That Mythic Monster is back in Jason's hand, yeah.
So he's got, I guess he could do the Flame Spike here to finish it off, since he's got the recycle.
He does. And I've talked to John about it. He loves Rescue Griffin. He's playing it in Constructed, and he has shown, I think more than anyone, he's shown the power of that card. People looked at it at first and said, well, it doesn't recycle, it's not very good at attacking, but it turns out it's just a really good 0.
I mean, that was the perfect situation for Rescue Griffin, because it was like a Fireball, did 3 damage, but now he's also got a huge, it's much bigger than you think, yeah.
It really is.
7.
Both against Pyrosaur and against Strafing Dragon. We've seen it in Constructed.
Yeah.
Just blocking the Strafing Dragon.
Yeah.
That alone can be a really powerful play. Chooses to draw 2 with Reset here. Picked up that Master Force Mage. Or we're one step closer to seeing the Gareth's Will Master Force Mage plan.
I mean, he's got the Gareth's Will in his hand.
Yeah. We're so close.
Right, so we know that he has a lot of zero-cost champions in... John has a lot of zero-cost champions in his deck, so it'll be interesting to see if he tries to dig for a different zero-cost champion to abuse the Gareth's Will with, because, you know, as it stands right now, I mean, he could return the Genova Sands to the hand.
Yeah. I think Jason has a lot of decisions here.
Yeah.
Decides not to do anything, takes a 3 from the Rescue Griffin.
I mean, he's thinking about the Dracus Enforcer, but it is kind of risky to play into it, especially when you're ahead on board and you have, you know, an advantage that needs to be cleared. If he goes Dracus Enforcer and then John, you know, plays some kind of Wrath, like an Angel of Death or a Plague or something like that, then
it looks like a clear block for the Dracus Enforcer. Just get that Rescue Griffin out of there. But a lot of things that go into it. First being, I don't want to play my coin before my opponent, and exactly what you said. On turn, board wipes get a lot stronger if you can bait your opponent into playing their ambush champion first. It's a huge reset.
Yeah.
Well, not reset, but a huge clear back to. It's a huge clear back to nothing on the board.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, he's thinking about the Dracus Enforcer. It looks like he doesn't quite have the loyalty for it, because... oh, wait, no, he does. He has Fire's Rebellion.
Fire's Rebellion and the Mythic Monster you already revealed. Yeah, Dracus Enforcer's been such a solid card from the very beginning. So fair, so balanced. Still played and constructed in those wild, aggressive decks. Misguide Herald, nice. This does seem like the wild deck with all the big monsters.
Absolutely. Seems
like a great deck for the Misguide Herald. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what, because it was probably a big wild champion was the first thing that Jason picked up in his first pack would be. I would not be surprised.
It's interesting. With the Keeper of Secrets, chooses the Angel over the Reset.
Right. Well, he's not worried about the Reset being lessons learned or Memory Spirited.
Right. But he might be more worried about Zombie Apocalypse or
Final Task.
Yeah, Final Task. Yeah, exactly.
Or Necrolord. Or Angel of Mercy.
Yeah, a lot of choices. So getting that champion out of there, choosing it as a priority over Reset.
So he turns here. I guess he's not... Did he recycle with the turn? Off of the Keeper of Secrets?
I'm not sure. Maybe he didn't want to, but most of the time I think you do.
Yeah. Right. It looks like John's looking for a way out. It's pretty clear here that he's going to want to remove the board based on just what he has in his hand.
I thought I saw one of his evil... I thought he had his evil board wipe.
He has Heinous Feast. He doesn't have...
Oh, okay. No.
He doesn't have an evil board wipe in his deck. He just has a Martial...
That's right.
And
Savage Uprising.
Yeah.
So those are going to be one of the two cards he's looking for. And that Keeper Secret's doing work. That Flame Spike currently doesn't have Recycle, so John's...
Yeah, I think the plan for John is definitely dig for those answers. It's just that if he draws 2 here, then he's going to be taking 11. So I think John is actually thinking about not playing anything to just gain 11 health.
Even though it... Yeah, and he didn't. That was really great insight. Even though Jason played his coin, people go, well, you have to play your coin. But John showed real discipline in saying, you know what, Jason passed me before attacking.
Yeah.
Oh, and he just Gareth's Will his own Reaper back to his hand.
I think there was an argument to be made for playing the Master Force Mage because you'd get to activate it 3 times this turn. Well, yeah, because you could play the... he has another Sage. He doesn't have another Sage card in his hand.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah.
We just weren't able to see it, but this game at least.
He has to play the Force Mage Apprentice. He's going to have to play the Master Force Mage here
if he wants to play another coin.
If he wants to play another coin, yeah.
Right.
So he's going to try and bait out the block on the Dracus Enforcer here. And
because we know he has the Master Force Mage.
And then he can Master Force Mage to kill the Keeper of Secrets with the Flame Spike.
Yeah. He'll be able to do both.
Yeah.
He does. He gets it. So that Dracus Enforcer has 7 damage on it.
Oh, he's just going to go for it like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose worst case scenario, he ends up, he might be planning on, this is like I'm ahead enough here, and I'll let my opponent try and do something, and then I can hit them for 4 with the with the Force Mage, Master Force Mage right away.
Yep. Looks like he goes for Ice Drake. Not a time, even if he had Loyalty 2, to reveal it. So he's just going to play a 6/8 Airborne Ambush.
It's interesting. It doesn't actually get rid of the Rescue Griffin here, but does draw a card off of the recycle.
Right.
So I guess if... Interesting. He's going for the Blind Faith right away. Yeah, I mean, Blind Faith can sometimes be hard to get value out of, and he knows that the Keeper Secrets is going to banish something else from his discard pile this turn.
Right.
So.
Make sure he gets the recycle off, and that's enough sometimes for your zeros. Yeah, you don't always have to try to blow somebody out with Blind Faith. I do agree. I've seen people just hold it in their hand, waiting and waiting, but that's the power of zeros with recycle. You just dig for something that's more important in this moment.
So it's pretty... He's also looking for a 1-cost Sage card that isn't
exactly
Master Force Mage, because it's kind of awkward to play right now, but it looks like he is going to use it to swing, and then presumably Lightning Strike to finish. Yeah, probably have to be Lightning Strike to finish that off.
He must have... Yeah, I think he has Lightning Strike in his hand. Because Jason's like, we both played our coin, I'll just block.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the Lightning Strike.
And then the Wither.
I don't think that's a bad block by Jason at all. I mean, he's at 13. I mean, taking another 4. I mean, you can't use the life total much more as a resource. And that just shows the power. There's a Lightning Strike.
Yeah.
We saw John pick that up super early, and
oh wow! I'm actually shocked that he didn't use the Wither there to finish off the Master Force Mage. Oh
wait, before he drew, he almost drew, right?
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Wait a second, he did it." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good catch by Jason.
Yeah.
He slowed down. Yeah, he was like
brought it to the front.
Right. He made sure that he did it before.
Looks like he's going to go on the offensive here. Interesting. So he's using the Heinous Feast so that Jason can't get another recycle off of the Keeper of Secrets.
Yep, I like that, because Jason started with the that was still at the end of turn, right? So he couldn't do it on his turn.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jason is definitely behind enough on health that Rescue Griffin is starting to add up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at how much better it was in that scenario than Fireball, right?
Yeah.
Where he was able to block that Pyrosaur, 5 turns ago, and that thing's still around.
Yeah.
Still just causing havoc. Jason needs to find the Rock Sisters we don't know if he has.
Yeah.
Deal with that.
Right, he definitely doesn't have a Siren Song.
Yeah. Right. John takes 3 from the Thrasher Demon. Can't tell. Yeah, you can never tell if Keeper's attacking her, but it banishes the card. And
he's got a lot of zeros.
Yeah, Jason really prioritizing those zeros. Plays the Worm Hatchling into the Mythic Monster. That is a 6/6 breakthrough 0 to start. So he's going wide. He's playing a lot of zeros. The question is, he's digging, right? So John's digging for a board wipe. If John doesn't find one, he's in trouble. If he does, he could...
He's digging for exactly Martial Law, because he can't Savage Uprising the board.
Right, with the...
It doesn't kill anything.
Right. So it's literally, it's Martial Law right now.
Yeah, I mean, not like Savage Uprising would be that bad, considering how low that Jason's getting.
Great point about the Rescue Griffin. Jason finally has to say, enough is enough, and he has to play his Fires of Rebellion, deal 7 damage to it, and draw a card. It does make the Worm Hatchling bigger, but that Rescue Griffin basically got a coin after all that.
So Martial Law is off turn, so unless he drew it right here with the second wind, I would not be surprised to see... Well, he has the Siren Song. Probably, I think the plan is Siren Song, the... what's that on his far left? Is that a Reaper?
He could
Reaper the Mythic Monster, and then Siren Song the Worm Hatchling.
Right. And even if the Worm Hatchling and the Thrasher Demon trade, he's super happy.
Yeah. Well, also, the Worm Hatchling represents lethal very soon because it's
Right, he doesn't have to block. He just
Even if the Thrasher Demon blocks it, it still hits him for 5 the following turn.
Yep. And you know, John, that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
Took care of that mythic monster with Reaper, Siren Song, and there's the power of Siren Song. I talked about it earlier. I knew Jason was going to have a lot of zeros.
Yeah.
John probably knew that as well. He picked up that Siren Song, very happy, and when people have a lot of zeros, Siren Song really shines, and it just did.
Yeah, and also, we know that John doesn't have a lot of burn in his deck. I think the only burn card he has is the Saboteur Pricing, but he has the Risen, so that we could definitely see that as a pseudo burn card very soon to just get in damage.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those cards where you don't really think about it because it's spread out damage. It doesn't all come in one champion, so you can't just block it with a straight blocker. Jason's in a tough spot because he needs to put pressure on in order to.
He's gonna roll the dice here. he's saying this is the Misguided Herald. He has 2 cards in his discard pile, so he'll be able to recycle as well with the Keeper.
Right. I think he should have recycled first, because in case he. Wow.
Well, so also the cards that we saw, some really powerful stuff: Vanishing and Watchful Gargoyle, Surprise Attack. Both these decks look really good. He finds one, and it's a good one. Frost Giant. Recycles with the Keeper of Secrets to draw another card. And that Reaper's not on defense. I really like Frost Giant.
Yeah.
It's also great in he has Ice Drake and Frost Giant and Surprise Attack. He can also Surprise Attack that Frost Giant off turn. A lot of threat from Jason. His deck's different than, instead of board wipes, it's more like aggressive tempo.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be the plan. We haven't seen a lot of actually stopping the. We haven't seen a lot of Jason putting pressure on John, more of the opposite, which is kind of funny considering, when we looked at their decks, we assumed the opposite would happen. But
right.
Let's see. So right now, Jason can threaten a total of 19 if he swings with all of his champions, which are bringing John down to 5. So
but Jason's played his coin, John hasn't.
Right.
So we'll see what John has here. Erratic Research.
Yeah, he's got to play
I don't think he can play that Faithful Pegasus on Jason's turn, so he does find.
You got a Frantic Digging, which he could play, but if depending on what he has in his hand, he might choose to wait on the. He might choose to draw first, because if his next 2 cards are zeros, then he can empty his hand before playing the Frantic Digging, and the Risen will break a champion with the Reaper, and also allow the Corpse Digger to attack.
So he starts the Frantic Digging.
Right, he's actually got no champions to hit because Jason's been prioritizing the champions.
Yeah. Another thing. Yeah, that's another great point for choosing with your Keeper of Secrets. I mean, it seems like a small choice, but they can totally add up. You never know with a Final Task or Lessons Learned, the choices you make with Keeper of Secrets could really throw an opponent off.
So if he Smash and Burns on the Worm Hatchling, then that becomes 15 attack.
Breakthrough,
yeah.
Yeah.
So if he attacks with the Worm Hatchling and he gets blocked by the Misguided Heralds, then he can threaten lethal.
Yeah. This is that Faithful Pegasus also has Blitz. He does start with the Worm Hatchling though. This game is really close.
I think if he blocks the Worm Hatchling, there's also something to be said for John Smash and Burning on the Faithful Pegasus to spread out. Well, if it gets blocked by the Misguided Herald, Smash and Burning on the Faithful Pegasus to spread out the amount of damage.
Right, over the 2 champions. So this Worm Hatchling's coming in right now. It's an 8/8, correct? The dice isn't
So-
clear maybe from your
so
side, but to confirm, it is an 8/8 right now.
He can also clear. Oh no, he can also clear two things because he has the Skara's will and the Risen. So I think.
Wow, yeah.
If he.
With Reaper.
Right. I think
Oh,
it
that's
might
sweet.
be a correct play to Skara's will and then break his Faithful Pegasus to make a demon. So that way, when he plays the Risen, it gives his demon blitz.
Wow. And this is suring Reaper twice in the same turn.
Right.
I mean, this is incredible.
And the demon token off of the first Reaper can
Right.
attack as a 5/5. So I think I think there's a good chance that he wants to. He's double blocking. So
The
right
Entangling
now,
Vines is
it's Entangling Vines it's a 9/8.
9/8. Yeah. 8/8 or 9/8. It's being covered by the keeper, but 11
So
on
right
the defensive
now
end.
it just kills the Entangling Vines. So if he plays the
Right,
Smash
9/8.
and Burn on the Worm Hatchling, then he'll deal 4 damage
Right.
to Jason, and
Well,
his Worm
plus the
Hatchling will
+2.
survive.
So it's +2 to make the Worm Hatchling.
Right, it's
10
plus 5.
15. Yep.
So he'll deal 4, and then he will his Worm Hatchling will survive.
Yeah.
Right now. But the Worm Hatchling is going to be taking the Entangling Vines is 8, right? So the Worm Hatchling is going to have 5 health left.
And Jason should be at 9. Yeah, there it is. So what a great example of Smash and Burn. Such a great card.
Yeah, it looks like he's like trying to slow roll it a little bit because he has the Medusa, he has Fumble, he has Martial Law, and he knows that if he can get his opponent down, he actually has Burn now.
Right.
Uh,
There's Muse from Jason.
be
Draws 2.
Because ideally, for John, the Faithful Pegasus blocks the Frost Titan. It'll probably have to block
The Frost Giant, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Thresher Demon's going to be attacking for 7.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have to deal with one of those. If he fumbles one, and then he still takes, 7, 8, 9 in the air? 9? Otherwise, so he's going to have to do something about it. But I could also see a play where he chomps with the Faithful Pegasus and then breaks the Faithful Pegasus into a demon before damage, and uses the demon to block something else.
Jason starting with the demon. A lot of choices. There's infinite amount of attacks each turn. It's so fluent. The starting with the demon. Yeah, seeing how John plays this Scar as well with the Reaper, and even using, like you said, blocks to stop damage, and then able to sacrifice before.
Yeah,
Gonna start with Medusa.
I think what he's going to try and do here is set up for the
win on the next turn.
Yeah, well, I think he's actually going to try and set up for a good position to play the Savage Uprising if he gets into a bad spot here. Like, he's playing it very safe with the Medusa there, and
Right,
at this
with the
point,
Reaper. Yeah.
he's putting his now. Jason has to answer the board.
Yep. And we saw John take that Medusa. It was past him, and he said, "You know what? It's early enough." And there it is, right there. I mean, that is like obviously one of the most powerful things you can do in limited.
So I think that he has to swing in here with the for 5, and then John will have to take 2, going to 9, and then play the Reap and Sow. Because Jason has a lot of burn in his deck, so if his opponent can't, if John can't follow up, then the 3 damage followed up by a different burn spell for 6 could easily win. So I think this has to be Reap and Sow right now.
Yeah.
He's seeing other plays, but I mean, he's facing down a 10-10 breakthrough.
Yeah.
A way to break whatever you play. Another split 13 power.
He may not want to, but gotta as close as this game is with the breakthrough, yeah.
Yeah, and
Let's make that board
hatchling
clear.
is actually in should be in Jason's discard pile.
Which card?
The worm hatchling.
That's correct. With these turns and these siren songs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to get back to its home. Oh, we are switching over to the other game.
I suppose so.
Can we still see the end of that first game we were watching? Oh, it's not. That was just it's okay. It was a reap-in, so.
Yeah, it's a reap-in, so.
It definitely just it did clear the entire board. So we're back 9-9 with a clear board here in game 1.
So I guess John drew and then passed. And then Jason... Ooh, this is interesting. He's going to make 5. He's like, what does that card do again?
But Jason even had to say, well, I know what martial law does, but you're doing the other thing that doesn't happen that much. I got to confirm what that part is. Yeah. I like it from John. Did we see what?
Yeah, so the Scaras, that's going to make Jason sacrifice that. He's got the Risen, so if he gets in with these tokens here, so I think what's going to happen is probably each of these are going to not get blocked. Well,
there's Flames of Furos on Jason's side, so...
Yeah, he's going to kill a human and draw 2.
Well, no, Flames... the Flames of Furos is... he would kill all 5 humans and deal 5 to John.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what he's going to do. But I think John has the Risen, right?
He does have the Risen, so potentially that could just be lethal.
Yeah, I mean, as good as that looks for Jason, the follow-up is the Risen.
Yeah.
There it is.
He actually still wins if 2 get in because they're
pumped this turn, correct?
He has Go Wilds.
Yeah, I think this is it.
Yeah.
Jason's confirming the pumps, and that's it. Yeah, Jason doesn't have a 0 to deal with that, and as good as Flames of Furos was there, the Risen. The martial law for tokens into the Risen to win. That's sweet.
Yeah, you don't see...
You don't see that often, but most cards have two things they can do. And even if they're not used very much, like we were talking about earlier, I even said it before the round, I expected John to do some cool things with these cards that he's drafted. Yeah. Well, I mentioned Resurrection, but we saw the Risen right there. So we will go right over into Game 2, Jonathan Lewis against Tom Sorenson. We saw Jonathan Lewis defeat Will Morgan in round 2, and he's back again up against Tom Sorenson.
So it looks like Tom's playing a aggressive Sage deck, and I mean this situation doesn't look too good for Jonathan. That War Machine is already lethal on the board, and he's got another 2 unblockable to follow it up.
Yeah. Unsure if Tom has played his coin yet this turn. Probably...
Tom just played the War
With
Machine.
the War Machine, okay, yeah. He just had.
So it looks like Jonathan hasn't displayed.
Right. But he's got to have something here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to have something. Let's see. Yeah, he could play... Looks like that's a teleport, which means that he's going to expend it and draw a card, basically.
Yeah.
Not the way you want to be dealing with a War Machine.
That looked like I'm at 10, that thing's attacking for 10, and I have a choice, and that's it. And I'm not super excited about it, but hey, I'm not dead, so I'm drawing again, and hopefully I'll find something.
Exactly.
It's a spike trap off the top for Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, that Hushnock's Will represents 6, so if he can get an Evasive Champion on board and another burn card in his hand, then that'll probably be enough.
Fairy Entrancer as well, a card I'm really excited about. Darwin and I talked about last round. I don't think he has the loyalty, though, to be able to...
Oh, he has Mystic Researcher and Spike Trap, so I think he's going to play it.
Is he... I can't tell if that's...
That's Mystic Researcher and Spike Trap.
Oh, Mystic Researcher, not Fairy Entrancer.
Researcher.
Okay.
Mystic
Yes.
Researcher's
Also a new card.
Yeah. Oh, he's recycling. He has another sage card in his hand. It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back to.
We're going to go back to our main match, our main feature match, as they start round 2. Or sorry, game 2. And here we are. Looks like it just started. John might have played that Winter Fairy just like game 1. Jason erased whatever it was that was played. Most likely the Winter Fairy.
I've seen this before.
Yes, this is game 2.
Yeah.
But a little bit different last time as well.
But I think this time,
Yeah.
Jason has a good play to make on his turn as an establishing play.
Yes. Yep. Those establishing champions. Winter Fairy is one of them. Raging T-Rex might be one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And Triceratops also very strong.
Oh. So we get to see some Master Force Mage action this time.
Yep.
See that Pegasus in his hand might have a human to give airborne this time.
Always fun when new cards come out. First thing you got to do if you're a faithful Pegasus fan is how many of these are humans. Jason follows it up with the Vanishing. Another strong 0, a tempo play. And
It's a really good vanishing
good. Not only a good vanishing target, but really good when you have Triceratops out there. You know, starting to put some pressure. But basically a vanishing of his own. John also has vanishing, but on his new coin, Garrus will, and plays the Winter Fairy again, followed by the Draka's Enforcer.
A lot of deja vu this time. All right,
yeah.
and then I'll play my other wild champion that
Yeah.
card.
But this time, Jason found his muse early, and that could be really strong. Let's see if John has a response for it. He doesn't. He kind of goes, "Yep, draw 2 with muse," and he does.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the Medusa is probably going to have to be played this turn, just because it's going to be difficult for him to hold that Will of Scar in his hand, and we know he doesn't have a lot of evil cards in his deck. So
Right.
my guess is he's going to really want to get value out of that Medusa as early as possible, so he can open up his options.
Wither on the Winter Fairy. It doesn't feel good, but you got to do it. You can't let that thing stick around.
Ooh.
Wow.
That was pretty spicy.
Wow. So, I mean, obviously, Jason knew he had the Force Mage, replays it, 2 to each one of them. Lightning Strike finishing off the Draka's Enforcer. That card has been so strong.
That was a good play on John, because a lot of the time when you have a play in your head and then you draw a card, you keep thinking about that play that you already had. But here he drew the Lightning Strike off of the Winter Fairy being withered.
Yeah, and was immediately able to reassess, and that's so hard to do. There's obviously so many lines. Most of them are good, but you're looking for the great one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what both John and Jason proved last year, and they're already starting again this year.
Yeah, looks like he's thinking. Jason's thinking about Triceratops. I like where I'm matching Triceratops here, because it's going to be hard to establish it. You don't want to play Worm Hatching and then another 1-cost champion onto an empty board, because it's so weak to Wraths.
Right.
If your opponent already has something in play that you don't really like them having around, like a Master Force Mage, then you can kind of hedge your bets.
Yeah. And Jason has a lot of cards. He did draw an extra card with Muse before it died, and Jason saw very few board wipes out of John, so...
Yeah, it looks like John's thinking about Corpse Taker into the Winter Fairy, and then replaying the Winter Fairy. But I also like this. Yeah,
he keeps the Winter Fairy though.
Right. If he top decks, so basically, I think a good play here is he could swing with both, hit for 6 in the air, Corpse Taker back the Winter Fairy, replay it, then attack for 4 more in the air with the Force Mage again.
Look at this. He's doing it. He's going to do it. I think he's going to do it. And this is going to show the new Master Force Mage at its best. And Corpse Taker. Yeah. I've thought, I might have undervalued that card at times as well. It's just a 0. I don't think does as much as other zeros do. But, hey, it's still a 0. Mm-hmm. It still can be a chump blocker a lot of the time. And it can bring back, in this case, it could be a really great establishing champion for John. Okay.
Yeah, he's a little nervous.
He's like, all right, we're not going to get to see the Master Force Mage attack twice with Airborne this turn, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
But Jason, making sure he's saying, no, I can't deal with this Force Mage anymore. I'm gonna deal 7 to it with Fires of Rebellion, draw a card. Take the 2 from Faithful Pegasus.
Interesting.
But now John's got Jason to play his coin first. And this is what John does so well. He just keeps putting just enough pressure.
I think he has to. So he does have the option to clear both if he wants to scar his will into the Medusa here. But then, because otherwise if he plays the Corpse Taker, then it's going to be difficult for him. He's going to basically be forced into playing the Medusa next turn.
Right.
And then get hit with one of those big breakthrough champions.
Yeah.
So I think he's trying to figure out right now, do I want to lock myself into making an early play? Because let's say I like this route better, because let's say he goes the other route and he brings back one of those champions and plays it, then he's going to be hit by 2 big breakthrough champions next turn.
Yes.
He's going to remove one with Medusa, but he's not going to have a second card in his discard pile if he Corpse Takers.
Exactly.
To recycle off of the fumble.
And he needs to do it. His whole hand isn't evil. He's got to play that in that order. Sequencing, very important. Making sure to keep the Corpse Taker so that he has enough loyalty for the Medusa and the Scar as well. And of course, he can always Corpse Taker that Winter Fairy later, now that he's gotten the Medusa out of his hand.
Yeah. Looks like he's planning on using the Corpse Taker to get back the Winter Fairy later instead of the Master Force Mage.
Right.
Which makes sense. He doesn't look like he has a lot of good establishing plays to make on his turn, so being able to reuse that.
Keeper of Secrets in Jason's hand could throw some kinks in that armor.
Is that a Gladius, the defender?
That's a Gladius. Let's get that guy up on screen. That's a 6/11.
Yeah.
Unbanishable. Wow.
6/11. It has expended to make 3 human tokens, and it gives your other good champions +3 attack. So it looks like he's not spending. Oh, he drew 2 with the Heinous Feast. All right, so.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward because of. It can be difficult to remove sometimes. Like it is something that you don't want to be lying around, because once you start making human tokens every turn, it's kind of like Thunderous in the same sense that it can be difficult to remove, but also is not something that you really want to see.
So John baiting into Jason into blocking with Gladius. Oh, but before damage, I think that's Force Lance.
It is Force Lance.
Yeah.
So here it's going to give +2 attack and recycle.
Right.
It doesn't give the Unbreakable because it's not Jason's turn. So
that's
he's just
correct.
using it for 2 damage.
He's doing it, but what Jason doesn't know is John's got the Smash and Burn in his hand.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got something.
Yeah,
and that's going to. So right now, Jason hasn't spent his golds, and the Medusa is going to kill the Gladius, but the Gladius is
8. It's also not going to kill the Medusa. I think Jason thinks that the Force Lance is going to save. Yes, it's not his turn. It's a new card.
So I think another thing is if he plays the Secret Legion now, then he'll get to make 3 humans off of the Gladius. Because he'll give the Gladius splits.
Wow, that's a great point. We were talking about that earlier, actually.
We were talking
about ways
Murderous
Murderous Necromancer, and that is something he can do here. That's a really unique line. He's not choosing to play his coin, and I think Jason thought that Force Lance made his Gladius unbreakable. A new card. Yeah. It is John's turn though. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I think he also just might not have realized that line, because it is one of those things that you never think about, is giving your champion blitz off turn is relevant. But
yes,
the secret, because if he's probably going to draw 2 with the Secret Legion, but if he was going to use it to make the 6 humans, then he'd want to do so before damage on the Gladius so that he can make an extra 3.
Yeah. It is cool to see, though. He's got Secret Legion and Gladius in the same deck. Yeah. I mean, he's put together a little token strategy of his own.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's hard to see. I don't think.
Yeah.
I've been playing for a while, and that is something that is hard to see in the moment.
Yeah.
During combat.
You just don't think of Secret Legion as a card that gives, Gladius
Blitz, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it does, making a lot of tokens is actually a good idea right now because he knows that John has Savage Uprising in his deck, and he knows that the Smash and Burn's in the discard pile, so
Right.
you can't Smash and Burn. You're not going to Smash and Burn a human token.
Right, yeah. Jason going wide here. I think on this third attack, John stopped.
Yeah.
Or
interesting. He's deciding not to do the Keeper of Secrets play, but it looks like that's because he wants to follow up the Keeper immediately with the Frost Giant.
Yeah.
So
guaranteeing the recycle.
I think his plan is to drop the Reap and Sow to make 4 zombies and just go really wide, and then in his turn follow it up with the Keeper of Secrets.
Wow, Master Force Mage though.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, the corpse taker into the Master Force Mage. Flame Spike on another one. Now he doesn't have any blockers against the Medusa.
Mm-hmm.
John still hasn't. Actually, he did play his coin, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Played the Master
He did
Force
play the
Mage.
yeah.
So yeah, what that does here is, I mean, he's effectively assuming that the Medusa gets in, the Flame Spike's acting like a deal 6 to your opponent recycle.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like he's passing though, which is interesting because I'd imagine you'd want to pass and then play the Flame Spike after his opponent spends their golds. Or play the Flame Spike and then attack.
Right. I don't know. Wow, also the Knight of Dawn.
Yeah.
Look how strong that is as a 0. His coin was putting 4 zombies into play.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean,
that 0 took care of 3 of them.
Yeah.
So powerful. And when that Master Force Mage untaps, you can take care of 2 more tokens.
Which might happen right now.
Which could happen, yeah, on this turn.
So I think at this point, Jason's going to be looking for answers. I mean, that Master Force Mage is really going to do a lot of work if it doesn't get removed.
Yeah.
But, he still realizes that the Smash and Bird's in the discard pile, so he needs to play the Keeper of Secrets, which means that he really wants...
Right.
He's kind of pushed into playing the Frost Giant this turn.
Get rid of the Smash and Burn, play the Frost Giant, recycle to draw a card.
Yeah.
Or Ancient Chant. He could just...
Ancient Chant to draw 4.
Yeah. He goes with Frost Giant. I might have gone with Ancient Chant there, but he's going to put the pressure.
Well, I think this
it's hard.
way... he's thinking, John has a lot of things in play, so he's not going to be able to Wrath, and he didn't have a free card to save his Knight of the Dawn last turn from the group block. So he probably doesn't have a cheap removal.
Right.
Like if he had like a Consume or something, he would probably use it
to keep keep it alive, especially with other zombies still in play.
Right.
He puts looks like the Risen and Muse on the bottom.
And then
he passes after playing his coin before attacking with the Frost Giant.
Yeah.
Just to draw 2 from Resurrection. So now this Frost Giant is much safer to attack, right?
Right.
We should see some attack from it here probably.
Yeah, I mean he's planning on using the fumble there.
Yeah. That's the power of fumble. Allows you to draw 2.
Yeah, yeah.
And then not take the big hit from the Blitz champion and recycle.
Yeah.
That's why we won't be seeing that card later today.
Oh wow.
But partially because of John last year.
Yeah.
Rescue Griffin comes in as well.
I guess does he have Final Task? I don't think we've seen any Final Tasks or Zombie Apocalypses or anything like that. Alright, so he's thinking about it, about lethal opportunities here. It looks like, because there's the 3 human tokens in the way, he's probably going to Frantic Digging this turn because he really wants to find...
Right.
He really wants to find some way to another stage 1 cost card.
Yeah, for that, yep.
So that he can...
That Master Force Mage. Get them all out of the way.
Yeah, Yeah, and probably he's trying to figure out what to chuck because he likes all of his zeros.
It can be tough.
Yeah, and he definitely wants to keep.
He goes with martial law.
He actually wants to keep the Siren Song because if he draws that Sage card, he can actually recycle by stealing the Keeper Secrets.
Oh, yeah, that'd be sweet. No, he went with the martial law. I don't think I could have gotten rid of the Siren Song either. Frantic diggings. He did not find a Sage coin.
Yeah, he is thinking about using the Risen this turn, so that's why he's planning on. See, probably what I think is gonna happen is he's gonna play the Dark Knight swing, and then before damage play the Risen to get the extra damage in, because he's got what 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21, if all of his attacks connect.
But Jason hasn't played his coin yet.
Right. So,
but we'll see what happens here.
Right. But he can threaten lethal if.
Oh, he also just has a go wild.
Right. If he go wilds the Risens, then on board he'll have exactly 20.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, he decided not to Risen.
I mean, as cool as that would be, I don't think he has to, right? I mean, that's just an unbreakable attack for 9.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't played his coin. Mm-hmm. Dark Knight and Go Wild looking so strong together. Jason's got to decide what to do here. If he goes for a draw 2, then that Risen is that's a threat.
I mean,
it's a blitz threat.
It'll be a draw 4. So I think he's almost definitely going to do that. Because he's thinking, how do I win this game? Not how do I get out of this scenario, but how do I win this game? And he needs to make a really big comeback. He doesn't have a way to clear the board in his hand. I mean, he can play the Flames, but realistically, even if he does play the Flames, he's still got to follow that up with a way to clear the board effectively, or at least remove a bunch of the chaff.
Is he doing this? He blocked with that 1/1. Medusa has that 8 toughness.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that little 1/1 human was relevant.
Yeah.
He chooses to flames. I thought it was strange that he was flamesing on when Dark Knight wouldn't die to flames, but that's because of the 1 damage on Medusa. Yeah. Really heads up from Jason. Remember, it's a long turn. A lot of things happen. That Medusa has 1 damage on it, and
so here the Risen's going to get in for 9.
Yep.
And
proving to be an event that plays out like a Blitz Punisher champion. That's what it is.
But it's hard to block. So John has Savage Uprising in his hand.
Oh. I don't see any life gain in Jason's hand.
Yeah.
I think even though this Pyrosaur would look good, which it is, I think that's Savage Uprising. Yep. John. 3-0 against Jason.
Yeah.
Over the last year, Jason. He's not out of it yet, though.
Yeah.
He's got 3 more rounds to play today. They could meet in the top 8 again.
I mean, we saw last year Jason lost to John in the Swiss, but he still made top 8.
Yeah. He fought back hard.
Yeah.
Didn't lose again, and they're just kind of talking, discussing things, discussing the dark draft together. I don't think that the backup match is still going. Okay.
Jonathan won 2-0 on the backup.
Okay.
Versus Tom Sorenson. So.
All right.
Yeah, it was. I was actually really surprised how well John made use of that. The Risen. You know, normally that's not a card that. That you see ending games reliably.
Yeah.
Consecutively, but it did that time.
Yeah, the Risen, and I know I just said it, but. It's an aggressive blitz punisher, like you think of Rampaging Worm, and when you're drafting the Risen, proving to be very powerful, and that's what I love watching about John. If you watched him last year, and he's 3-0, I mean, there's a chance we're going to see him on stream some other time this weekend again. He plays the game so much, and he's been playing it for so long, and he just understands exactly what every card does, and he finds the best way to make cards work that sometimes you haven't seen work like that before, and that's why it's great to watch him. That's why we had him on. So I think we're about to take our lunch break. There's a lunch break, and players will return at 2:30 Eastern. Eastern time zone, for round 4, and we'll be starting back with Constructed with 48 new Pantheon cards. I'm super excited.
I am ecstatic. I'm so excited.
Yeah, all the cards you've been working on.
I'm just
So CJ's been working on all these cards, designing them. You were the lead designer of Pantheon, and I'm really excited to see Pantheon shake up Constructed. Well, I expect to see a lot of new cards. So we'll see you guys back at 2:30 Eastern.
Yes.
All right.
Help deal with